The recovery of the missing U.S. service member raised the number of U.S. troops killed in Wednesday's attack to 4. 5 Nigerian soldiers also were killed in the attack. CNNTHE Defense Department has identified the fourth service member killed in an ambush in Niger on Wednesday as 25-year-old Army Sergeant David Johnson. Johnson was killed by enemy fire in the ambush, the Pentagon said. His body was recovered by U.S. personnel Friday in a remote area of the northwestern African country by Nigerian troops nearly 48 hours after he was discovered missing in the wake of the attack, U.S. officials told CNN on Friday. The attack Johnson's group was attacked near the Niger-Mali border by up to 50 fighters thought to be affiliated with ISIS, a U.S. official said. The 12-member U.S. team was leaving a meeting in unarmored pickup trucks when they began taking fire from small arms, machine guns and rocket-propelled grenades, according to a U.S. defense official. With window glass exploding all around them, the service members, including multiple Army Special Forces soldiers, exited the vehicles, ran for cover, and began returning fire, killing some of the attacking militants. It is unclear how Johnson became separated from the rest of the advisory team during the firefight. None of the other soldiers with Johnson witnessed him being captured or taken away by enemy forces. The U.S. military said it does not believe Johnson ever fell into enemy hands, but had reason to believe he might be alive. Military officials launched an urgent search and rescue mission after receiving electronic signals that indicated Johnson might be alive in the field. The U.S. military initially issued a statement Thursday saying the attack left 3 U.S. service members dead and 2 wounded. The larger-scale search and rescue operation involving U.S., French and Nigerian troops was launched soon after U.S. officials realized one of the U.S. service members was unaccounted for. Coordination of efforts like U.S. Special Operations Forces troops were flown in from the continental U.S. to aid in the recovery effort. U.S. Navy SEALs were deployed to a U.S. military base in Sigonella, Sicily, in anticipation of a possible rescue attempt but never went into Niger. We had everything: jets, rotary wings, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, various platforms, human intelligence, signals intelligence, you name it, U.S. Army Col. Mark Cheadle, a spokesman for Africa Command, told reporters at the Pentagon Friday via a phone call. There was a full court press by all of the Department of Defense, the Nigerian government, the Department of State and the French to help us recover our lost one. He added that the Nigerian troops who found the body in the vicinity of the attack transferred the remains to a team of U.S. Special Operations Forces who flew the body to the capital, Niamey, where it was identified, Cheadle said. Cheadle said the Nigerians were very respectful and fully aware of the need to honor the fallen. CNN did not report the details of the search operation while it was ongoing and did not report the deceased service member's recovery until CNN was assured that his family was notified. The investigation, a U.S. official says a full investigation into what happened is underway. Cheadle told reporters that Africa Command was re-evaluating its force protection procedures for its advisory missions. This was not expected, Cheadle said, adding, had we anticipated this sort of attack we would have absolutely devoted more resources to it to reduce the risk, and that's something we are looking at right now. A spokeswoman for the French Ministry of Defense told CNN Thursday that French troops from the Barkhane anti-terror force based in neighboring Chad were involved in an operation in Niger. She said the operation was led by Niger with French troops supporting them. U.S. officials told CNN Thursday that French military Super Puma helicopters evacuated the wounded Americans along with those killed in action while also providing covering fire. The wounded were first flown to the capital Niamey and later to Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany. French military attack aircraft also flew to the area in an attempt to support U.S. personnel on the ground. Our allies the French were very quick to respond, Cheadle said. 5 Nigerian soldiers also were killed in the attack, according to a Nigerian security official. About a platoon-sized element of Nigerian troops were accompanying the U.S. team. We are resolved and stalwart in our efforts to go after those who attacked us, Cheadle said, adding that while the U.S. military has an idea who was behind the ambush, he declined to identify the group involved. Advise and assist mission. The U.S. soldiers were part of a team advising and assisting local forces. The Army issued a statement Friday identifying the 3 soldiers earlier reported killed in action as being 2 Green Berets, Staff Sergeant Brian Black and Staff Sergeant Dustin Wright, and a 3rd soldier, Staff Sergeant Jeremiah Johnson. All 3 soldiers were assigned to 3rd Special Forces Group Airborne at Fort Bragg, according to a statement issued by U.S. Army Special Operations Command. The attack occurred approximately 200 kilometers north of the country's capital, Niamey, in southwest Niger, according to the statement from Africa Command, which oversees military operations in Africa. U.S. forces are in Niger to provide training and security assistance to the Nigerian armed forces in their efforts to counter violent extremist organizations in the region, the statement from Africa Command said. There are about 800 U.S. troops in Niger, and the U.S. military has maintained a presence in the northwest African country for 5 years, with small groups of U.S. Special Operations Forces advising local troops as they battle terrorist groups, including Islamic State in Greater Sahara, the ISIS-affiliated Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda's North African branch, Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb. U.S. forces are in Niger to provide training and security assistance to the Nigerian armed forces, including support for intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance efforts, in their efforts to target violent extremist organizations in the region, U.S. Navy LT. CMDR. Anthony Falvo, a spokesman for U.S. Africa Command, said Wednesday, adding, "One aspect of that is training, advising and assisting the Nigerians in order to increase their ability to bring stability and security to their people. Niger is an important partner of ours. We have a deep relationship with them." Lt. Gen. Kenneth McKenzie, the director of the Joint Staff, told reporters at the Pentagon Thursday. "We're committed to that relationship. We believe that they are as well. In fact, I think it's a very good success story." Terror group movement. As officials assess that these terrorist groups view Chad, Niger and Mali as being particularly important as they serve as bridges between North and Sub-Saharan Africa, saying that local Al-Qaeda and ISIS affiliates use control of these transit routes to gain revenue that helps them recruit, expand and export attacks. ISIS uses these north-south transit routes to move fighters northward, where they can gain more easily access Europe and the West. One official told CNN that ISIS is attempting to illegally infiltrate the gold mining industry in Niger to sell on the black market and finance world terrorism. Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb has maintained a presence in the Mali-Niger border area, despite a multi-year French-led military counter-terrorism effort, Operation Barkhane, which began in 2014. The U.S. military has largely played a supporting role, providing intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance assets in support French forces operating in Mali and Niger. The French operation involves thousands of French troops as well as forces from Germany, Mali, Niger and other countries in the region. And while U.S. troops largely play a supporting role in Niger, military leaders acknowledge the risks they face. "Clearly there's risks for our forces in Niger," McKenzie said while declining to discuss the specifics of Wednesday's attack, citing ongoing partnered operations. "Anytime we deploy full forces globally, we look very hard at the enablers that need to be in place in order to provide security for them, and that ranges from the ability to pull them out if they're injured to the ability to reinforce them at the point of a fight if they need reinforcement," he said. "Certainly to the soldiers in the fight it was combat," McKenzie added. The Pentagon is in the process of establishing a drone base just outside the city of Agadez in Niger in an effort to bolster regional counter-terrorism efforts. The U.S. has been using a local Nigerian airport while the base is under construction, according to U.S. Africa Command. CNN's Jamie Crawford contributed to this report.